Are NBA players overpaid? A brutally honest debate. The average NBA player will make almost $12 million this season. To put that in perspective, the average American household would have to work for over 170 years just to make that much. That is a staggering amount of money. This massive gap has everyone asking one simple question: are NBA players ridiculously overpaid? Or are they worth every single penny? You hear this debate on TV, online, and with your friends. Today, we're settling it. We're breaking down the shocking numbers and showing you exactly where the money comes from, so you can decide for yourself if the system is fair or if it's completely broken. The problem: the shocking numbers. First, let's just gawk at the numbers because they are genuinely hard to wrap your head around. The average salary for the 2024-2025 season is nearly $12 million. But the truly mind-blowing figure is the minimum salary. The lowest paid player on a full contract, likely the last guy on the bench, is set to make over $1.1 million this year. He's a millionaire just for being on the team. Then you have the superstars, whose paychecks are straight-up monopoly money. For the upcoming 2025-26 season, Stephen Curry is set to make almost $60 million. And he's not alone in the stratosphere. Superstars like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid will both be collecting over $55 million for that same season. Get this, for the 2024-25 campaign, 27 different players are making over $40 million. When you put that next to what a typical person earns, the difference is astronomical. It's this unbelievable gap that makes so many people feel like the system is fundamentally broken. How can someone playing a game earn hundreds of times more than a teacher, a firefighter, or a nurse? On the surface, it just feels wrong. The argument for overpaid. The most common argument is simple: it just isn't fair. From a societal standpoint, it feels like our priorities are completely out of whack when we value entertainment that much more than professions that save lives and build our communities. And what really makes people furious is when a player signs a massive guaranteed contract and then gets injured, fails to perform, or just doesn't seem to care. Imagine you're a die-hard fan. You spend your hard-earned money on tickets, merchandise, and TV packages to support your team. Then you see a player making $30 million a year to ride the bench or play with no heart. You feel cheated. And here's the kicker: unlike in many other sports, NBA contracts are fully guaranteed. Once a player signs on that dotted line, they get every last dollar, no matter what, even if their performance falls off a cliff. If you or I are bad at our jobs, we get fired. In the NBA, it can feel like some players get rewarded with generational wealth regardless of their effort or output. But is the picture really that simple? To get the real answer, we have to stop comparing NBA players to regular jobs and start looking at the NBA for what it is: a global, multi-billion-dollar business. But before we get into the business side of things, I want to hear from you. Based on these numbers alone, what's your gut reaction? Are they overpaid? Let me know in the comments right now. The solution: the NBA's economic machine. Alright, this is where the whole perspective shifts. Those massive salaries aren't just pulled out of thin air. They're determined by a complex system, specifically the Collective Bargaining Agreement, or CBA. This is the contract negotiated between the league's owners and the players' union. And here's the single most important detail you need to know: the players get roughly 50% of all basketball-related income. Let that sink in for a second. The players aren't just employees. They are effectively 50-50 business partners with the billionaire owners. So the question isn't just, why do players make so much? The real question is, why is the NBA making so much money? The answer, in a word, is television. The NBA recently signed an 11-year media rights deal worth a staggering $76 billion. That money gets poured into one giant pool of revenue, and the players are legally entitled to their 50% cut. Now consider this: an NFL team has 53 players on its active roster, while an NBA team has only 15. In the NBA, a bigger mountain of cash is being split among far fewer people, so each player's slice of the pie is absolutely enormous. Case studies: value versus salary. Let's look into a real-world example, because a player's worth isn't just about points per game. It's about the revenue they generate. Take Stephen Curry. His salary for the 2025-26 season will be nearly $60 million. That sounds like an unbelievable expense. But from a purely business perspective, he might actually be underpaid. The Golden State Warriors are now valued at over $9 billion, and Curry is the main engine driving that valuation. He sells out arenas all over the country. When the Warriors come to town, ticket prices skyrocket. His jersey is a bestseller worldwide. The amount of money he brings in for the Warriors and for the NBA as a whole is astronomically higher than his salary. He is a walking, talking economic stimulus package. So what about that player everyone loves to call overpaid? The one who signs a max contract and then gets hurt or underperforms? Fans get angry and label it the worst contract in the league. But for the team's front office, it wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated gamble. In a league where winning a championship can bring in hundreds of millions in additional revenue, you have to spend big to acquire the talent you think can get you there. Sometimes that gamble pays off with a parade. Other times it doesn't. That overpaid player isn't a failure of the system. They're a business investment that just didn't pan out. The global impact and scarcity. There are two final factors that cause these salaries to explode into the stratosphere: extreme scarcity and global superstardom. Think about it. At any given time, there are only 450 players in the entire NBA. That's it. The pool of people on the planet Earth who possess the rare combination of height, athleticism, and elite skill to compete at that level is incredibly small. It's the most basic law of economics. When a resource is exceptionally rare and in extremely high demand, its price goes through the roof. Furthermore, these athletes aren't just local heroes. They are global icons. Names like LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic are recognized in cities all over the world. Because of this, it's a mistake to compare them to doctors or teachers. A more accurate comparison is to the biggest movie stars and musicians on the planet. They are the lead actors in a blockbuster show that plays out on a global stage, and they're compensated like A-list stars. So let's circle back to where we started. Are NBA players overpaid? The answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's complicated. On one hand, when you place an average salary of almost $12 million next to the salary of an essential worker, the disparity feels indefensible. From a purely societal perspective, the argument that they are grossly overpaid is incredibly compelling. But on the other hand, if you view the NBA as its own unique economic ecosystem, the picture changes completely. In that world, the players are 50-50 partners in a business, entitled to half of the billions of dollars their talent helps generate. Their salaries are a direct reflection of their extreme scarcity, their global fame, and the unbelievable amount of money flowing through modern professional sports. So, are they overpaid compared to a doctor or a soldier? Yes, absolutely. But are they being paid more than what they are worth to the business of the NBA? The evidence suggests no. They are simply earning what the market dictates. Perhaps the system isn't broken. Perhaps it's just operating on a scale of wealth that is almost impossible for the rest of us to comprehend. Now that you've heard both sides of the argument, I need to know what you think. Has your opinion changed? Is the system fair? Or is it time for a major overhaul? Drop a comment below and tell me what you think is the most overpaid player in the league, or even the most underpaid. I'll be down there reading and replying to as many as I can. And if you learned something today, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next debate.